Okay guys, a couple of things. First thing I want you to be aware of before we get started on the notes for our third day of digital learning, since it looks like this might go on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and post the keys to all the worksheets we've done, so you'll have all the answers. I'm not going to do it till like a day or two after the worksheet is due, but then you can go back and check and make sure to see how you did. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to spend all day tomorrow going back and looking over your work and seeing if we need to, do a little remediation. And then also again, if we continue to do this, we will actually start meeting in Zoom classes. And that way, instead of me posting videos, we will actually do notes and problems all together if you can join that Zoom. Okay, so having said all that, this is our, again, ignore this day 6. We are going to now simplify radical expressions, which we did yesterday with numbers, but today we're going to do them with variables, and that means with letters, okay? So same concept, but we're doing variables instead of numbers, so let's see how this goes. When simplifying radical expressions, you simplify the variables using the same method as you did previously. What you need to be aware of, if you see an x squared, that just means x times x. If you see an x to the third or x cubed, that just means x times x times x. So the blank of the variable tells us how many times to multiply the variable by blank. So we're talking about the exponent of the variable tells us how many times to multiply the variable by itself. All right, so pretty easy concept, that part of it. And after you do a couple of these, I really feel like you're gonna do pretty well on these also. While I'm thinking about it, guys, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a message, whether email, through Canvas, or whatever, okay? And again, it's really important that you keep doing your work because you'll be able to use all of this work on your quizzes and your tests, okay? All right, so x to the 8th power. So what that really means is x times x times x times x times x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, times x times x. So same thing like when we did the factor tree with the numbers. This is kind of our factor tree, but with letters. But now we're looking for pairs. Well, look, there's a pair of x's. There's a pair of x's. There's a pair of x's. And there's a pair of x's. So we need 4 pairs of x's to end up on the outside of the house. And I have nothing left, so nothing's going to stay on the inside of the house. So the square root of x to the 8th power is x to the 4th power. Okay? If you're a little confused, let's keep doing some more. Hopefully you'll figure it out. X to the 5th is really x times x times x times x times x. So 5 times. So now look for your pairs. You've got a pair of x's, another pair of x's, and then I've got this x all by itself. So that's going to be underneath the house. I know that right there. I've got 2 pair of x's. So that means x squared on the outside, and that's it, you're done. I'm gonna show you a little trick to kind of help you check yourself here in a second. All right, so on this one, I've got the square root of y to the 4th times x to the 8th. So what I really have is y times y times y times y. But now I have to deal with these x's. So it's x times 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 x. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right. So we've got a pair of y's and a pair of y's. So I won't have any y's left underneath the house. I will have 2 pair of y's, or y squared, on the outside. Let's do our x's. 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 pair of x's, but nothing left over. So on this one, I won't have anything left under the house. And I'll have 4 pairs of x's, or x to the 4th, outside. So now I'm done. So now let's talk about this little trick I was telling you that might help you check your answers. When we have variables as the radicand, that's the number underneath the house, we want to pay attention to their exponents. When we have an even exponent, we're going to take all of the variables out and there will be nothing left under the radical. When we have an odd exponent, we are going to leave 1 under the radical and take all of the rest out. Okay? So up here, if you notice, is x to the 8th power. Well, that 8 is even, so that means I shouldn't have anything left under the house, and I don't. This 4 and that 8 are even, so that means I shouldn't have a y or an x left under the house, and I don't. This is odd, so that means I should have 1 of these letters under the house, and I do. There it is, right there. Okay, so again, it's just another way to kind of let you know what your answer is supposed to look like. So example 1 above, x to the 8th power, square root of x to the 8th. What was the exponent of the variable? It was 8. How many x's did we take out? 4. And was there anything left under the radical? None, or no, there was nothing left under. On example 2, x to the 5th, what was the exponent of the variable? It was a 5. How many x's did we take out? 2. Was there anything left under the radical? Yes. And we left something under the radical because that exponent right there was odd. All right, so let's do some more. All right, so x to the 10th. So now I've got a pair, a pair, a pair, a pair, and a pair. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's x to the 5th power. Nothing left under the house because that 10 is even. So now let's look at the next one. I've got r to the 52nd power. Well, guys, I do not want to have to write r 52 times, so I'm not going to. I'm going to show you a little trick. Up here, this x to the 8th power, 8 turned into 4. That sounds like we're dividing by 2. 4 turned into 2. Sounds like we're dividing by 2. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. Sounds like we're dividing by 2. 10 turned into 5. Sounds like we're dividing by 2. And that is what we're doing. It's really easy if it's an even number. Well, even, we know there won't be anything left under the house. So that's going to be r to the 52 divided by 2 is 27th power. So I was not going to write that r out 52 times. Let's look at the q to the 19th power. Well, it's an odd number, so I know I'm going to end up with 1 left out. Well, what's 1 less than 19? It's 18. So q to the 18th power, if I divide that 18 by 2, that leaves me q to the 9th power outside. So all we did was, it was odd, so we knew we had 1 left under the house. We went 1 below 19, which was 18. 18 divided by 2 gave you 9. All right, so let's look at this one, x to the 15th. So I know I'm going to have an x under the house. Well, that puts me at x to the 14th. 14 divided by 2 is x to the 7th power. I've got a y to the 7th. That's odd, so I know I'm going to have 1 left under the house. That leaves me y to the 6th. 6 divided by 2 is y to the 3rd power. So there are your notes. I'm also going to post a video showing you some of the problems on the worksheet, and then I'll tell you which ones you need to do on your own. Guys, so far y'all have done a really, really good job of turning in your assignments. I know this stinks. I know it's not how we want to do our school, but it's where we are right now. Keep doing the good work. And like I said, look for the video for your worksheet. Thanks.